Welcome everybody. This is the regular meeting of the North Oakland Transportation Authority. Today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024, not 23.
Yeah.
And we're at the NOTA offices. So can we have a roll call for members in attendance?
Sure. McDonald?
Here.
Brakefield?
Here.
Cyrowski?
Here.
Flood is excused. Couch is virtual. Forgeot? Here. Pearson?
Here.
Payne?
Here.
Burnett is excused. Waffle? Here. And Curtis?
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. We'll stand now for a respects to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody, and we'll start with approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second. That was Ed? Yeah. Thank you. No questions on the motion. All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Agenda is adopted. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the November meeting. As you all know, we held no meeting in December, so.
Move to approve the minutes from November 16th, 2023.
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? If none, all in favor of adoption of, or approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Director's report, Lynn?
I don't know if you want me to, I don't need to read all of it, but there's been a
Right.
lot of things that have been happening.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and summarize for
Yeah,
us then?
there is. We are, for our total rides for 23, we're almost 50,000. That's not including our group trips and our trolley rides, which are over 5,000. We are also we have over 700 rides in our new territories of all the communities, and they're amping up. We're getting new or more applications daily. I don't know, how many applications have you gotten so far, even just this week, from Clarkston and Independence?
Right, there is about 7 to 9 a day.
Yeah, so they're coming in fast. So, and we now have 75 employees, which is more than double from last year. We did hire 7 when we reached out to Independence Township with this pilot program. We haven't really set it in I know we've got it in later in the agenda. Nothing's completely set, but we have kind of an agreement. And what we've been doing is we said that we would hire their drivers if they for the March pilot. And so we have tentatively hired 7 of their drivers, which will start in March whenever the pilot actually starts. It hasn't been set yet, but we're waiting for 8 vehicles to be replaced. They're going to be. And we're hoping that we'll be able to retain those vehicles to be able to run the pilot. That's still being worked out. We are looking to be putting our 5 to 10 vehicles, depending on how many vehicles come in and what we have. To do this pilot program is the idea. They currently are housed at Clintonwood Park in Independence Township, and that's where they keep their vehicles currently. They currently have a manual gate, and it's closed at 5 o'clock with a lock. And so part of the agreement that they wanted is for us to put an automatic gate into that. That's something that they were looking into anyways. The county said that they would, after they running the cost analysis for that, it shows that it's well worth probably $15,000 to $20,000 of investment compared to us going back and forth in the mileage saved, which was like $120,000 over the 6-month period. So it's kind of shocking. We're also moving into our new dispatch system, so we've had to manually input all of our data into this new system that's going to be shared with Smart, LODA, OPC, and Sterling Heights. I'm not sure how Sterling Heights got put into that, but they are as well. So we've had some challenges with that, and we're still quite a few challenges with that. And it's a brand new system, so it's not completely up and running. And so they're developing it as it goes, so there's been some concerns. We just had a meeting today with SMART, and they've addressed some of the issues, but we still have a lot more to be addressed. But we're working through those, and so that's where we stand with that. Eli and Sarah came out last week and met with us to kind of do an annual review. They were real happy with how we're doing so far and the progress that we're making, kind of in the growth. We've also started a whole new driver training program. So we've Emma, who's our head dispatcher, has really taken on a lot more roles administratively, and she's been now our trainer. So she does an excellent job in training the drivers. We have like safety and sensitivity, so we have a program set up that's that we're going to be sending all of our drivers, including the independent drivers, that come over all through that program, which takes about 2 weeks. What else do we have? We're installing, so we've a new phone system that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be like a call center, so it's going to be, looks like a great system. You don't actually need to have phones, you can do it all on your computer, but we're choosing to have phones just to not take up space in the dispatch area. So that's actually, we're going to be waiting for our current one, so that's going to be happening. We're also upgrading our server, which needs to be done, and we just have to get some approvals. So when we met with Eli, he basically said that come up with your budget adjustments that you need to make this pilot program happen. So I'm working on a budget right now to try to see what extra things that we need that wasn't in the current budget, and he seems to be expecting to have a budget adjustment. So, and then Nigel cooked. He organized it. He raised the funds. He cooked it with a chef friend of his, and delivered 91 Thanksgiving meals to our riders, which is amazing. I think it was up from 70 some last year, so it's incredible. So that's the report. Thank you.
I've got one question. Your IQ, is that it? You're going down Echo is free,
Right.
and it seems to be working without flaw. Why would you go from Adaptq, which is giving you problems, down to, or go backwards, if you will?
We've had some issues with that, so I actually had a phone call today to basically that we have to work with Adept right now. And apparently we have to make sure that they can meet our needs before we talk about anything else, is what Paul's
Okay.
saying. So,
That's
Yeah, I was gonna say, if this doesn't work out just because
Right.
they want it, doesn't mean that it's gonna fit our needs.
Trust me, we've really expressed
See?
our concerns, and all of the providers have
Just
expressed our
being
concerns,
my
so.
mind over here.
Or you read mine.
No,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, Lynn. If there are no more questions related to her report, we'll move on in our agenda. Public comments. Hearing none, we'll move on to financial activity. First part of that will be the informational financials.
I move to receive and file financial.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to receive and file the financials. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Approval of the bills, we'll have to bear in mind, do we want separate motions for each month, or can we combine them? Are you comfortable with?
You can do something.
If you make me choose, I'm gonna choose separate.
Okay.
So November, approval of bills.
I move to approve $370,798.89 for the November bills.
I'll second.
Is that Bruce?
Quicker around
Is
here.
it
Bruce
that?
can take it.
He just, because I'm younger than him.
Oh.
You know, Bruce, I'll get you the next time.
Okay, I don't like that.
Okay, so that was Mr. Brickfield?
No, Bruce can take it.
Okay.
The second, he's gotta get his
Okay.
name on the agenda.
All right.
Beauty before age.
Roll call on that one, please.
McDonald,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes?
Cyrowski,
Yes.
Pilch, And Pearson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Waffle? Yes. Curtis?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to December.
I move,
Go ahead.
I move to approve $69,039.97 for the December bills.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to pay that amount for the December bills. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, do we have a roll call in?
Sure. McDonald?
Yes.
Brakefield?
Yes.
Cyrowski?
Yes.
Couch? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yep.
Waffle? Yes. And Curtis?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Moving on then to old business, we have none. Under new business, first order of business is the adoption of the 2024 NOTA meeting schedule, which you should have found in your packet. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, we approve the schedule for 2024 NOTA meetings.
Second.
Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the schedule as noted, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, motion carries. Lynn has submitted a request for the purchase of 3 minivans with side ramp from Hextra on the Michigan DO state contract. It's a total amount of $192,272.63. What is the pleasure of, Lynn, do you want to address that, Lynn? or
Yes.
you-
So this, we had purchased some minivans, last year, and those are the rear minivans. And, we like this style better. I feel it works with wheelchairs better. We were having some issues with some wheelchairs and it was rear, entry. So, this style, I think, is gonna suit our needs better. There's one that you can pull up right next to the driver, or there's one in the back, and then there's a bench seat. So, the style looks good. The county changed their purchasing policies, and they require that it has to meet all of the federal clauses and has to be on an ideal. So we can't go with Mobility Works unless they can prove all the federal clause. In this, contract, Hoekstra has one that's available right now, and then there's 10, coming soon. So, our budget for this is $180,000, so there's about a $12,000 adjustment that I'm gonna be building into the adjustment that's gonna go for this, budget adjustment, so. And I've spoken with Eli about that already, so he knows that that's coming.
Okay, I move to approve the purchase of 3 minivans from Hoekstra in the total amount of $192,272.63.
Before there's a second, I've got a question. It looks like they're covering the cost of $191,220 and the $1,052.63. Is that, they're covering that as well? Or is that, we have to pay for that?
No, they're covering the total cost. The
They were going to cover the whole
$192,272.
cost of $192,272, so nothing out of our pocket. Okay, I'll second that, thank you.
Okay, any other, any questions on the motion? Hearing none, do we have a roll call in, please?
McDonald?
Yes.
Brakefield?
Yes.
Cyrowski?
Yes.
Couch? Yes. Pearson?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Waffle? Yes. Curtis?
Yes.
Motion passed, and buy some more buses. Should we call them buses? Next item is the Independence Township Pilot Program discussion. Before we enter into that discussion, obviously, we've had a lot of changes over time in our dealings with the other communities that Oakland County has participated in with Lynn, better than previous. Let's hope, or it appears that way, because to my appearance, it looks like we're moving in the right direction with them and their test programs. So Lynn, go ahead if you want to update us on that.
Sure, we've met a couple of times with Independence and the county, and so it started with a few months ago, and Independence Township really wanted to have a memo of understanding, and so they put together a little bit different format than this, and then the county came back and just kind of did a bullet points, kind of, you know, some understanding. They really wanted, Independence really wanted to have something formal that's signed, but then, right now it's in the hands of Oakland County, and I think their council is saying, no, we're not gonna have an agreement with Independence, our agreement is between NODA and us. So they're kind of agreeing, and I haven't seen what the wording's going to be, but it's gonna be somewhat, the idea is that basically the gist of this memo is gonna be that NODA's gonna provide service through Independence, and that the only agreement is gonna be between NODA and the county. So it's really not with Independence at all, so that's basically, you know, where it's going. Just wanted to give you kind of a general guideline of what we've kind of talked through, and we're currently giving service to Independence right now. So we're currently supplementing by doing the evenings and outside of their territories that they currently take, and the idea is that when we start this pilot, once we get these vehicles, that will take over completely their system. So that they have 6 vehicles, they run 5 routes, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and we'll be just taking over completely and using their drivers who are wanting to come over, and we've already hired them. All the dispatch will be here out of NODA, and so basically, we're gonna be keeping those vehicles over there because it's cost effective to do that, and then obviously, I think a lot of their drivers that have been doing those routes are gonna be doing the same routes, it's just gonna be paid through NODA. So that's kind of the general gist. We don't have anything official from the county, but the idea is that the county's looking at just having kind of a memo of understanding between the two of us of the service.
Is it still a battle royal when you and Oakland County go to their council and it
No,
is, isn't it?
It's a lot better. No,
Is it better now? Everybody's mellowed out a little
Yeah,
bit?
it's a lot better. So
It's still a challenge though, isn't it?
well, it's challenging, but
I think we're gonna have to look, again, at administration though, because when we have a remote site like that, it's gonna add to our workload here. So I expect that you will give us some update on that, or any plans that will address, because they can't operate truly independently of us from that location.
Right.
That's one of my concerns.
right, and so that's MODA currently, oh, sure.
Are you gonna be doing the maintenance on those vehicles here?
They're gonna be our vehicles, we don't do any maintenance in-house, it's all
Everything's out?
out.
Okay. You're gonna be plowing their lot over there, where they park the vehicles?
I don't think so, because that will be on, I'm assuming, that's gonna be under their parks and rec.
Something,
Or
yeah,
the
something
senior
to
center.
consider.
It's
Good point, though.
Yeah.
That should
Because-
probably
Good
be,
point,
one of your discussions.
Here's what I'm thinking, we are entering in an agreement with Oakland County.
Right.
They're following the terms of that agreement. Are they gonna be part of this board in the
No.
future? If they become part of NODA, will they?
Our intergovernmental agreement has guidelines on that. So theoretically, a community can be served contractually, or if they wish to participate, they could apply to be on the board. However, our discussion has always been that nobody's getting on board for free. If they want a share of NODA, they'll have to pay for that share based on what we have invested. So,
That share, Michael, is this cost of this building.
And all our vehicles.
Vehicles and.
As I mentioned before, as these vehicles, how many did you just get rid of? 6?
Oh, we're going to be getting rid of 7, and then we're
7.
getting replacement.
You're gonna replace them with county vehicles.
No, we're getting a replacement through SMART. Those are the
Through
5310,
SMART.
those are the grant
So,
vehicles.
this .95 millage is drawing money in from everywhere else. Eventually, it'll have all of the NODA. The only thing that'll be left is the building.
Point being,
Well, I see what
Yeah.
Jack's point is.
That's
is that-
that's all they would have to buy into?
Well, my point is, they're gonna be coming and saying, hey, okay, now that we wanna be a NODA, I want 12 routes, I want 2 more buses, I want. You know, it's easy for us to say no, but if they don't have any input in it, they're gonna go to the county and cause discontent. You know, things like plowing of their system, they're gonna be doing that with somebody else when they find out you have a truck and you have buses over here and all this stuff
That's another refinement that I
Yeah.
had not considered, so yeah,
I just-
even if their Park and Rec does it,
It's not a-
are they gonna want us to?
pay Parks and Rec. So, yeah, it doesn't need an answer, it's just something we need to start thinking of as our vehicles that were purchased on our .25 wear out and you delete and you purchase with county money. I'm just looking down the line, those guys are slipperier than eels.
Well, we've got
They're gonna, I'm gonna tell you.
Our vehicles are very well used, and if the county wants to replace them, it's not like we were driving around in a Gold that
You
never
just bought
corroded,
3.
never corroded or broke down, so.
You just bought 3, you bought 3
We bought it
before.
with county money.
But I think Jack's right in the sense that it's not just the building, it's also the goodwill of the business that we
Yeah.
have here. That
Blue
it
sky.
took us many years to develop this into a fine running machine, and that's worth something as well.
Well, it's a situation where if a community wished to become a member of NODA, they would have to apply to us and agree to terms. And then it's a matter of whether the board wants to vote, you know, there would be a vote on whether or not to have them join. So ultimately, the control is with the board.
I think we have to remember also that they would only be 1 or 2 voting members, you know.
If it's a
still-
township, I would assume it would be the same
Yeah.
situation. We'd get two township members, and then maybe the city of the village of Clarkston would be 1 member or whatever.
The only thing I can see is, I don't think it's to an advantage for them to join us. They're
No.
getting a service,
No,
and
no.
we're getting all the heartache, so.
That's right,
We're
but
doing the hard
if
work.
I was them, I would say, hey, you know, we're getting .95 mills levied against us, and the county is giving you the money to service us, and we're working through here, maybe I ought to start asking for some more.
Well,
They might want to seat at the table.
But we're not
they've
making money off
demonstrated
of
thus
it.
far
They're not.
a real lack of interest in having NODA or the county service them. And I think due to the persuasiveness of Lynn and the county transportation people, they've obviously demonstrated a change of heart, at least in independence, so.
They see the
Brandon,
benefit.
We don't know, we have nothing with Brandon at this point.
No, Brandon, when we met with them, he basically said, we're gonna continue our 2 vehicles, and you guys do whatever you want, just, you know, we have no problem. So, did Eli address that, like, what are we gonna do with Brandon? So he said, let's see what happens with Independence, go through the pilot. My guess is whatever, if Independence comes over, everything's fine, Brandon's just gonna go along with it, is the idea. So, and then the issue is with their vehicles, if they're not being used, that there'll be probably potentially have those taken back, because SMART looks at these vehicles that are parked inside, if they aren't getting the miles, you know, those are all things that.
You know what their tax rate or assessed value is in Brandon, .95 of 500 million is a lot of money.
Now,
That you walk away
I've
from.
spoken on this thing, and we're gonna, there's no doubt, I'm able to speak, you're gonna win them over eventually, because they understand this is a service they're already paying for.
Right.
They just had objection to how it was done.
Sure.
They're not happy about it, but over time, I think they're going to get won over and understand that they're paying for it anyhow.
It's certainly not a question I'm asking you to have answered now, but we should be prepared for that, because that's a lot of money they're walking away from. And when they realize that, some smart guys go, ooh,
Well, they have, I'm certain that if those communities had banded together on the passage of the millage and said, we're gonna start our own system, and do it ourselves and continue to serve our own residents, that would be the first thing on my mind. And NODA is a lot easier than doing that, which goes to what Bruce just said. You know, why reinvent the wheel when we've got a perfectly satisfactory system available? So, we'll leave that in the hands of our administration.
Yep.
See how that goes.
In talking about it, we put together an ad, that we're not gonna bring it out until April. Hopefully by the time then we'll have, our vehicles in place and we'll be doing a pilot, but they're doing a fabulous over 50 series on all the local papers. So we're planning on putting it in Brandon and Clarkston and Lake Orion and Oxford. But it's kind of a rough draft of the copy. I sent it to the Oakland County because they're supposed to approve all the stuff too. So that's with their marketing people now. But I just, if you have any comments or things on that, please let me know on that. So, thanks.
Thank you, Glenn. Anybody else on Independence Township pilot program? If not, we'll move on to public comments.
Are we
Hearing none.
receiving mileage reports?
Are you ready for next meeting?
No,
Oh, look around.
Joe-
I'm sorry.
Joe-
Yeah.
Joe got there.
I'm not, no, I can go. Good stuff.
All right, next item is receive and file a monthly rider and mileage report.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to receive and file the monthly rider and mileage reports for November and December, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no.
I've got a question. It's curious, and not to do with the motion or anything, but Waterford, Springfield, and Rochester, like one rider?
Well, they're kind of one-offs because they're not our main territory. So what we're doing, like, these are kind of bonus points with the county. So there's, if OPC can't handle some of the Rochester ones because they're coming up, a lot of them are right here in Oxford and they don't come over here, we've been taking them.
Yeah.
So we're getting credit for those rides, and also Waterford's the same way. If they're going out, it's in more of our territory and we're pretty much there, we're taking those rides, and they're kind of doing the same for us, so.
Yeah. When I saw that, it kind of jumped out at me
Yeah.
like, whoa, overloaded here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there one here for Naples, Florida?
We can add that to it.
You wish. There's a stretch, Ed was thinking Pine Knot.
I know, man, they also like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, it is a long drive.
All right, board member comments. The one thing I want to point out is, next month, we should plan on, our elections for the, administration for the board. It's been a couple years, and it's every 2 years, so,
I think you're doing a fine job.
if we do it, if we.
Yeah, I feel like that was just yesterday that we were voting.
It seems like it.
Doesn't it seem
Yeah.
like that? I mean, maybe not to you, but it does to me.
Does it have to be so formal? Can't we just say, I'd like to make a motion, they
Well-
stay the same?
I think we'll wait so that someone from Orion's here too, just so that.
It'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, they're not here, make them
Technically,
resign.
Put them-
technically,
put them
the
on
2
it.
years is the signing of the 2020 agreement, every 2 years. So it's at 2022, 2024, et cetera. So it would be March or April would be when the term would start anyways. So I think if we do it next month, it'll work out fine. It doesn't mean it'll change anything, but that's my only comment. Mr. Pearson?
On board, we're on number 10 minutes. I was just gonna ask, we used to, when the schools close, we close. And I know now you really can't do that, only because the doctor's offices stay open and everything like that. So we're staying open basically unless it's really impassable.
So we had the conversation with Eli and Sarah too about that, and he's like, you run your operation, the way you wanna run your operation, unless we hear a lot of kickback or issues with it. So we kind of we've been talking to all the other providers on what they do. So like what we did on Friday, because the snow was there, we called everybody and said, we try to get them an earlier ride home, because they're around 6 o'clock. So we said, hey, you know what, we're giving you an option to get an early ride home, or you're gonna have to find your own ride home, kind of thing. So we gave them the option, and that worked out fine. We sent our dispatchers home around 6. And then we did close Saturday because they had closed the school events, and with the
It was just so bad, I was out there.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's the only thing I'm, and before, we automatically closed, when the schools closed, when the buses weren't going out, then we weren't going out. But now things have changed, we've spread our community so big, and so many doctors appointments and all this stuff. It's almost like, I guess if you call it, it's gonna be a very rare thing that you don't run on the roads now.
Well, it's interesting because TTI used to close with the schools, but now we actually follow NODA.
Yeah.
We don't go off of the schools because it seems like the schools just, close.
right.
I mean, if it's cold, if it's not, I mean, that.
There was a little bit, some
Yeah.
confusion this week because
Yeah.
we were running when we were cold and they were off, so we had.
And it's so cold that they can't stand out there for the
Right.
buses, but they're all sledding at the hill.
Right,
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
You're moving.
Amazing, huh?
Right.
All right, you got me started now.
Is there anybody here that thinks they should be out of school when it's cold?
Mr. Moore?
I apologize for being late, a late notice from my council member for Joe that she was not gonna make it, and I wasn't sure the meeting was, so I called here, and luckily it was close by.
Thanks for pushing through.
Oh, you were right next door at the marijuana place, huh?
But I was waiting for my order.
I have nothing.
Good meeting.
I can tell you've been on vacation.
Oh, you haven't been to my board meetings.
Just in a good, great mood.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Curtis? No comment.
Nope, no comment.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Does anyone have anything? No?
What about the Zoom
I
call?
was just gonna add one quick point if I may. I'm really glad to hear about the expansion and that, you're able to cover some of the areas that OPC covers currently. I know that's been a big need for the individuals that, we support, so I think that sounds really positive.
That's good to hear. Thank you. Okay, that said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
So move.
Sure.
You and-